Good evening, everyone. Basically, Xoxy came out of my love and passion for people. I think that people are the diamonds in the garden of life. And I couple that with my love for children as well. Xoxy actually came out of an experience I had in reading about the fact that on college campuses, 1 in 5 women are sexually assaulted. And I also found out that in most instances, those assaults are not necessarily reported to officials, and they're handled by athletic departments. So the helicopter mom that I am, and coming from the background in insurance and risk management, I thought about how things are different today from the standpoint of when you meet people and maybe even graduate from college, you may end up in a community where you don't have the contacts and networks that you have while you're growing up to learn about each other or about those who you may come into contact with or want to develop a relationship with. So, and from the standpoint of my PowerPoint, I thought about one of my goals is to elevate. I believe that anything that you do, you should come away from it making it better and improving upon it. That starts with you as an individual, and it should also branch out into projects that you do or helping the community as well. Another thing that I think is extremely important is not having any preconceived notions. I'll start at the beginning in terms of how I grew up. And I had 2 brothers, I'm in the middle, and as a result, my parents didn't really raise me that much different. They didn't give me dolls or anything like that. And my father encouraged all of us to learn how to golf. At a young age. I think I started at age 6 with those plastic golf clubs that really, you know, don't accomplish much, but they make you feel good. So as a result of that, not being treated differently, my parents, you know, didn't tell me that I needed to take on any particular role as a female that was different than my brothers. And as a result of that, positive mind conditioning, which was reinforced by them through, you know, telling me that, you know, instead of saying what I could do, it's what I can and what I will do. And that positive programming is so important for all of us because our mind is like a computer and perception is reality. Out of that, I was able to become the first female on my golf team in high school and on the men's team. And it was really interesting because when I went to the country club there, which was another barrier as a minority, I'm standing there and this crowd comes out, and it was just, I didn't realize the significance of it, but probably because my parents didn't, you know, make me believe or think that it was, you know, any great feat. You know, it was just something that you shouldn't put yourself in a box, basically. And one of my favorite mantras comes from Nike with the "Just Do It" message, because with that message, it is basically that in practice, it's muscle memory to your mind and your body. And by saying that, by just do it, and I can and I will, then it erases, you know, and blurs some of those boundaries that society puts on you. All right, and my other big strategy in terms of how I accomplish tasks that may seem like they're maybe obstacles is to look at yourself as you're a corporation. Okay, so you are the CEO of you, or self-incorporated. So the best thing to do is always think about if there's a goal that you have to continue through continued learning, whether it be through courses or by making connections with those in the areas of interest, and being a good listener. And by increasing yourself and expanding opportunities within your area of interest, things happen, you know, just by taking those steps forward. And with risk and change, there's opportunities, because there's so many people that aren't willing or comfortable with making those changes. But if you make those changes in small steps that are manageable and measurable, then eventually you get to exactly where in accomplishing your goal or completing the project. So basically, in my mind, what I do as an exercise is I visualize what my goal is, and I work backwards, and I try to create manageable tasks and put them on a timeline for myself to make it easier. And I think, as I indicated earlier, it's important to foster relationships with those who have the expertise that you do not have on projects that you're interested in, and learning about areas outside of your specific expertise. Within my own field of insurance, I began in attempting to become an agent with State Farm. That changed when I ended up getting married and moving to Arizona, lost the whole base of people that I had planned on signing up. That base actually came from my mother's dental practice. She was one of the first female dentists in Ohio, had 13,000 patients. I thought I had it made because they saw me growing up in her practice, helping out in the office, and I thought, oh, I'm going to capitalize off of that, and have these insureds that know me as a person and saw me grow up. But as a result of moving, I went into the operations side, and just my thirst for knowledge and wanting to know how overall operations in an insurance company work, I ended up going into other areas like compliance and underwriting. And currently with JJC Insurance Services, I conduct auditing for Lloyd's of London. So that's complete operations, financial, IT, marketing, and the whole 9 yards. But all of that, all of those experiences and learning experiences have helped me in terms of developing Xoxy, which I'll talk about further towards the end of my presentation. But as a result of going outside of my comfort level and learning about areas outside of my expertise, I then was invited to be a delegate ambassador to China. So Society CPCU is an organization, it's the premier organization within the insurance industry. And I really pursued it because as a child, my parents would tell me, if you're going to do something, do it right or don't do it at all. And I thought, even from a time management standpoint, if I'm going for something, a designation, I'm going to reach for the stars. Why not? Why put a cap on my opportunities? So I did. I attained the designation, and because I had such a varied experience in the insurance industry, from compliance, working with the Department of Insurance, to third-party administration and just other areas, I was invited to speak to executives in China for the main insurance company there. There's a government-owned, and then they have Chartis Insurance Company is one of the first domestic. So that was an opportunity that I would not have had I not embraced change and risk. I also think it's important when it comes to my whole goal of elevating to see what kind of change you can make within your community and within the world. And when you have projects that you tie to improving your surroundings, it almost automatically generates the buzz that you need to market your own project. or company. What I did within my own life is I have a love for students, as I mentioned before, and through golf, my other passion, I was in Omaha, and I was in a women's group, and they had a scramble. And in the course of that scramble, I was paired up with a lady who happened to be the coordinator for AFS. And so for 18 holes, the lady was trying to convince me to host a young lady from the Dominican Republic. And by the end of it, it wasn't really too hard for me. It's something that, from the standpoint of, I have one daughter, and I felt it important for her to learn several lessons that could be learned with sharing and team play and understanding the magnitude of the world and communicating and connecting with those outside of her community. So after the one young lady, there was a young man who would also come and visit her, was one of her best friends. And he didn't have the best experience with his host family. They didn't communicate with him. So he would come over and talk to us. And they were in the process of actually sending him back to Chile because he wasn't really getting along with the family. And we ended up saying, hey, well, why don't you just stay here with us? So I had a student from Dominican Republic and a student from Chile living with me. And it's interesting because in the course of helping others, there's so much that you gain from them, really. I mean, I think I actually received so much more than what I provided to the students. It was a very positive environment. To this day, it really appeals to my nurturing side, and I'm really happy to say that even today, we're very, very close. And I, in fact, had an additional exchange student. My daughter was in Spanish class the following year after the two students stayed with us, and they heard about what a positive experience that we had. And then I ended up having a young lady from Brazil stay with me. So something tells me in my future I'll probably do it again, but it's just, just a life-changing experience. And when you focus on things that are passions that are outside of yourself, outside of making money, or things that really assist in making a positive change, whether it be in your community or your world, the rewards are just endless. Through Xoxy, I have also had the opportunity to speak to students with the YMCA and with the Boys and Girls Club as well on preventing sexual assault. Basically, what Xoxy is, it's the first credential for dating. And what Xoxy does, it's a self-initiated app-based program where a person gives some basic information, and it confirms their identity, confirms no felonies, no sex offenses, and also there's a requisition to Quest Diagnostics for STDs. And in my mind, I felt like today communication has really broken down between people, and those that have the goal of a long-term relationship with a partner. I wanted to create transparency and integrity without alienating anyone. So it's a choice-based decision to get the credential, and then you can vet those who who share the same interests and same goals. As a result of helping, I guess, elevate the awareness as to sexual assaults and STDs in this nation, being a mitigator in risk, coming from the insurance company And having a friend who's an epidemiologist, I learned that 1.1 million Americans currently have HIV and 16% don't even know that they have it. And I wanted to create transparency and a level of awareness so that not to alienate, but to help people in their choices and to help people to communicate with each other. Because I think that there's really a breakdown in that regard when it comes to relationships today. And I think in affecting positive change, as I indicated before, it's important to challenge your boundaries and to be your best self. Foster relationships with mentors and partners in areas that you don't have the expertise. Also try to improve the environment that you live in by making positive change in your community, and let that change reverberate and continue into the world that we live in. And it's very important to try to stand out from the crowd, which we all are uniquely talented. There's really nothing that we can't accomplish. We create our own barriers for ourselves. So, visualize what your goals are and what your projects are that you'd like to accomplish, and take those steps forward to do so. And so basically stand out from the crowd, because we're all unique. We're all diamonds in this garden of life. And I'm passionate to be able to present Xoxy, to raise the level of awareness about health and safety. And I thank you for the opportunity to discuss amongst this wonderful group and audience. Thank you.